Hi, everyone. This is EligibleIn. I am Coco, your host. Today, we are talking to Maria. And as always, please like, share, and follow on your podcast platform of choice. And make sure to subscribe to our newsletter for exclusive interviews. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Coco.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. The sun is shining. Getting closer to spring, so it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. And for anyone who's watching this and not living in Chicago, the past like 3 days, 3 or 4 days, we've had all four seasons.
Yeah,
So that's been fun. It's a very March Madness may refer to basketball, but honestly, it should also refer to Chicago weather in the springtime.
exactly. Yep.
But yeah, it's nice to have the sun out today.
Yeah. Feels good.
Yeah, you're looking very spring today too with the outfit and the earrings. I love it so much.
Yeah, thank you. Just a little something I threw
A little,
together.
I just rolled out of bed and
Yeah, just woke up
like
like this.
yeah, yeah.
No, I was getting ready and I was just thinking like I remember when I used to do this every day for work, to go into the office,
Mm,
hair, makeup, outfit, commute. And so I miss it sometimes, but then I don't because I'm like, I can't believe we did this every single day.
yeah, it's a lot. It's
It is a lot. It is.
to get up like especially if you have to be into your place of work early anyway, and then you have to plan out, however long it's going to take you to get ready every time and then commute time. Yeah, it's
Yeah. I mean, granted, I used to have the energy back then, you know,
right.
out of bed, shower, get ready, and you're out the door, but not so much anymore.
No, time and energy are very precious the older you
Yes.
get.
Yes. So, but thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have to ask you, where do you think you're going to meet your future partner?
Well, um, I I think it will be at a grocery store. Uh,
Okay.
or yeah, my jam is Costco, I have to say. My jam is totally Costco, and I try to limit myself to 2 times a month to go into Costco. They just I don't know, they just have great products, and of course, the samples are always, a perk when you're
Yeah,
walking around there.
it's like a weirdly fun place to go.
It is, it is. It's you have to go well rested, you have to wear comfy shoes, have a little
Mhm.
snack beforehand, because then you're gonna wanna fill up your cart with all the goodies they have in there. But, yeah, I think it'd be kinda neat to meet somebody at Costco, because then, they like to eat well, possibly maybe by the meat section, we'll both reach for the same, ginormous pack of steaks.
Yeah, so like what have you like fully envisioned like scene by scene like what that looks like?
Well, I envision it as being, I'll get a little dressed up like I am today and go to my Costco run. And so I'll make my way to the meat section, to the steaks, and
Mhm.
roast the steak and the roast and all that. And I'll see the pack of steaks and I'll reach for it, and then he'll reach for it at the same time. And we'll apologize, but we'll smile at each other coyly.
Yeah, you'll have that moment.
Yeah, we'll have that moment of, over the meat section, and maybe strike up a conversation. And he can pick up the steaks and I can pick up some wine.
Amazing. And then who's cooking the steaks at home? Is it you or is it him?
I think he can handle the steaks. I think he can handle the steaks. Yeah. I could too, but I can prep a salad, prep a side,
Mm.
some veggies, a dessert. So chill the wine.
So it's a group effort for the date.
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. A team effort, I like to say.
Yeah,
It'll be
yeah.
a team effort.
What else in your the meet cute man at Costco? What else in what else in his shopping cart is going to pull you in? Like, what I feel like what people grab at Costco can say a lot about them. So, like, what is going to be in his cart, and what is it going to say about him in this hypothetical situation?
He's, definitely gonna have, you know, a balance of things. Cause I like to live my life balanced and, you know, I'm not a health nut, but
Mm,
then, you know, but then I also, you know, catch myself if, you know, if I'm going overboard with the Oreos. So, you know, like some sweets, some goodies, and, you know, definitely a lot of veggies and vegetables and sparkling waters. Have to have
okay.
sparkling LaCroix or bubbly. And summer's coming, so, you know, getting very thirsty, need to be dehydrated. Yeah, so, you know, a balance, a nice balance of items in there.
Okay. Do you have a favorite LaCroix flavor or sparkling water flavor?
Gosh, I think it's the one with hibiscus something in there.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I've ever had that one. That's so
hibiscus
interesting.
berry or something like it's a pink can. Well, they have a lot of pink can. It's one of the pink cans, but yeah, big fan of the LaCroix and you know, just being well hydrated in general.
Yeah.
And
No,
then water.
you gotta stay hydrated.
Mhm.
Is summer I know you mentioned summer and we're talking like steaks and stuff. Is that one of your favorite seasons?
I do enjoy summer. Is that the summer here in Chicago is just so short and it just goes by so fast that,
Yeah.
you know, I try to get out and enjoy it as much as I can. And even if it's just, you know, a walk around the neighborhood and just, you know, taking in the nice weather in the morning. But it is because, you know, the festivals in Chicago are wonderful.
Mhm.
You know, all the street festivals, all the outdoor concerts, things like that. And just getting out in general is great. I think that if it was summer in Chicago year round, I think it would be the perfect city.
It would. Yeah. I love a summer in Chicago. But I think part of why summer in Chicago is so special is because we do have to go through hell low key a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
It ma
True. That is true.
it makes it that much more special. But yeah, I could afford to have Chicago summer be like a month or 2 longer.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So you know, I try to get out and enjoy it as much as possible that
Yeah.
season.
Is going to festivals, are there any, like, specific festivals during the summer here in the city that, like, you always go to, or even some that you have wanted to go to that you haven't yet?
I mean, yeah, I think I've been to mostly all. I don't think I go to one every year, but I try to hit up at least a few during the months, you know, like from what is it, May to September. I like Fiesta del Sol. That's always a good one. And then there's been like a lot of little random festivals that pop up like um I don't know, like Taco Fest, and then there's like Rib Fest and all of these different,
Yeah.
you know, in the city and then in the surrounding areas too, in the surrounding suburbs. So
Mhm.
I mean, if I see something pop up on Instagram or if you know, if a friend of mine recommends a festival, then I'll definitely want to check it out. You know, I don't, you know, check out different events. I don't stick to one every year. Got to switch it up.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's so many. You literally could spend your entire life, and like
Yeah,
you said, there's new ones popping up all the time, like, you truly could spend every day of the summer
exactly.
going to something.
Like there's not enough weekends, you know, like
Yeah, yeah, it's I think everybody, you know, how, like, teachers have the summer off, I think everybody should have the summer off,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
and we just go to the festivals,
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
a good time.
Yep, I agree. But if only we can only dream.
Yeah. Are you born and raised here in Chicago?
I am, yes, born and raised here in Chicago, mostly Southwest Side,
Okay.
the Gage Park area. Right now, I'm near Midway Airport, so Garfield Ridge area, Archer Heights. So it's nice because it's like a, you know, like 15-minute drive to the Loop downtown, and then, you know, also, you know, surrounding suburbs, and there's always a lot happening in the burbs too. So yeah, so I think you know most of the city, but then, you know, I'll go somewhere and be like, oh, I've never been here. I've never heard of this place. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think that a city like Chicago always has something to teach you and, for you to learn and, a little hidden place here and, a little park that you've never been to before. So I think that's the beauty of the city.
Yeah. Is that important to you, like in a partner, somebody who's willing to go out and explore, or like try new things? Or is that something you feel like you can do on your own or have other friends that can go out with you and do that kind of stuff?
Well, I've done it. I've done it on my own. I mean,
Mm.
I'm not afraid of going out by myself. I've done it many times before. So, but yeah, I think that would be great in a partner to, that'll, you know, want to be like, "Oh, hey, let's go check out this place or I heard this is this new bar, restaurant, museum, whatever." And, yeah, just to get outside and be out in the real world and get to know different things, and you may discover your new favorite place or, your new favorite thing to do. Yeah, so I think sharing that with somebody, I can do it by myself, but sharing that with somebody would be even better.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Mhm.
always nice every once in a while to have somebody there, whether it's a friend or a partner, whoever, to share
Mhm.
experiences with.
Mhm.
But
Yep,
yeah, I love a solo date as well.
for sure. Yeah.
What I know we talked about if only
Mhm.
because we have jobs. If only we could be out doing all the things we wanted to do. Um, what do you do for work? Do you wanna talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm a copywriter, and so, I do marketing. Mostly my background is in marketing, copywriting, web content, social media, anything creative, writing, anything to do with writing creative, and, so at the moment I'm freelancing. Yeah, so and I do love freelancing. It can be either, how can I explain it? Feast or famine, picking up clients and, getting leads and things like that as opposed to having like a 9 to 5. But what I love about freelancing as a contractor, you have that flexibility
Mhm.
where I can do this right now. I can talk to you right now. And then later on, I can, pump out some work. So that's what I love about freelancing. And so but you have to put a little bit more effort into that, of course, because it's not, like, you log on at 9, you log on at 5, you can make your own schedule, but you have to put a little bit more effort into, looking for clients, leads, following up with clients, things like that. So this year, I'm hoping to scale my business and actually creating an LLC
Mm.
with my brand and, actually not that that it's not my work isn't legit, but like, I don't know, makes it feel more official. I guess if you have an LLC and you can actually represent your work as your business. Yeah, so that's what I do for work and it keeps me busy. At times when it's hard to come to look for clients, then it's just like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. It's rewarding because again, you have the flexibility and I get to do a lot of creative projects and meet a lot of great people, other creatives in the city. So
Mhm.
what I like about it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that you're a copywriter because I'm actually currently in school to be a copy editor. Yeah.
Besties. We're gonna be besties.
Yeah, I'm currently getting my copy editing certificate.
Nice.
I want to as I'm sure you can see, I'm a big reader, and, I think it would be cool I'm kinda looking for, like, a career pivot that is still within a creative space because I've always been a creative, so I very much know the freelancer life.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the, like, joys of being able to make your own schedule, but also you're always kind of working.
Yeah, the hustle is a little harder, but
Yeah.
I think the rewards are greater, because you're making money for yourself, you're building your portfolio, you get to work with the clients that you want to work with. Yeah, so a copywriter's best friend is a great designer, a great graphic designer,
Mhm.
editor. So, yeah. So those are my besties. So, yeah, we're gonna get along just great.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a bit overwhelming, just, like, especially refreshing myself with English grammar specifically, it's like it's a lot. You can understand why when English is not someone's first language, how intimidating that can be. Because even me as a native English speaker, I'm like, this is just ridiculous." Like, all of these rules are ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's nice, like you said, the flexibility, and then also just greater reward, because maybe not always, because sometimes you have to take a job to pay the bills,
Yes.
but you do have a lot more room to be discerning about
Mhm.
who you're working with and what projects you're working on that
Exactly.
still fuel that fire of creativity.
Mm, mhm. Exactly. Yeah, and like I've been freelancing like forever, and working from home forever too, even before the pandemic and it became a thing because that's easy to achieve with a creative career like that. And you can always, if you have a 9 to 5, that's great, but you can always do, this is a side hustle and earn extra income. And Lord knows we can all use extra income nowadays.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
how exciting. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited too. It's one of those, I'll get more comfortable with it the more that I practice, and I just have to, like, trust that process, which I'm sure you're very familiar with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Uh, so knowing that you've always kind of had a flexible schedule, are you someone who has taken advantage of that in terms of, like, traveling places? Do you like to travel? Do you find that you, or even not even if it's just, like, internationally, but even, like, domestically?
Sure. There's been opportunities where I can take a trip and take my work with me and, log on for a couple hours and then be done for the rest of the day. I wish I could do more traveling than I can right now, but yeah, sure. It's always great to get out of the city and go explore, go a change of scenery.
Mhm.
My last vacation, real vacation was last summer. I went to a cousin's wedding in Riviera Maya.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so I was out there 5 days, like a long weekend. I wasn't working though, I didn't work at all. So I'm like, "No, this is an actual
It was an
vacation."
actual vacation.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then I went to while I was down there, I went to the Tulum, the ruins.
Mm.
And, so that was like my last great vacation, and, I'm hoping to schedule one soon. I don't know about this year, hopefully, get one scheduled soon because we just have to. We just, we have to get out of our minds and take a breath. Like you said, even if it's not international, I mean, take a road trip to like, Wisconsin, and just or Michigan and sit by the lake. And so, yeah, that's also to do with work. That's a good perk of it that it allows that flexibility.
Yeah. When you're thinking about that next trip, what is there a specific destination you have in mind?
Gosh, I don't know why, but Las Vegas has been on my mind for a while.
Interesting. Okay, yeah.
Las Vegas. I went there a few times in my, younger years in my crazy 20s. But I haven't been in a long time. So I don't know. I think it'll be nice and or California, Southern California. I've never been to Southern. I've been to Northern California, but not Southern. And I do have family in San Diego, which and I hear it's beautiful in San
Yeah.
Diego.
San Diego is very, very beautiful.
Yeah, the weather and all that. So I think it might be something that'll be a nice easy trip.
Yeah. If you go to Las Vegas, would you do more of, like, the Vegas Strip, or are you more of a, like, nature,
Now I am. I'm gonna be real. Those times when I was in my 20s, it was all clubs,
right.
casinos, staying out into the wee hours. Now, I think the Grand Canyon, no, not the Grand Canyon is out there.
It's
Canyon?
yeah. I know there's a lot of hiking and stuff. The Grand
Yeah.
Canyon is close, but I feel like it's, like, a few hours away from Vegas.
Okay. I know that there's a Red Rock. I forget what the name of it is, but it's a hiking trail and it's
Okay.
like one of the beautiful state parks of the country. So now, if I go visit, I think that would interest me, getting
Mm.
outdoors, getting some activity. And then, of course, going to the club or, at night, but not every single night.
Yeah, no.
No, 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 I couldn't do that.
Once is good and more than enough.
Yeah, you get it out of your system and then you're good. You're good. So I think that now, like you mentioned, I think getting out into nature more and going to a park, a national park or things like that would interest me.
Nice. Do
Yeah.
you have any other hobbies that either you've had for a long time or maybe that you've picked up as you've gotten older that are, you're more when you get older, it's like staying in, like you said, doing things that are more like can still be invigorating, but maybe a little more relaxing. Have you found anything that kind of is enjoyable in that way?
Well, I have to say, and this is kind of silly, but I've picked up coloring.
I love coloring.
I picked up coloring and, like, coloring with markers and I think they're called alcohol markers, like, they're really bright and they're like the chunky markers. I know that there was, like, a big boom during the pandemic of coloring books and 'cause,
Mhm.
we were trying to find things to do and keep ourselves busy. I've just, like, discovered it or, rediscovered it again, and it's just I it's just so relaxing. I do it maybe like, half hour, an hour every night right before bed just to relax and not to think about anything. And there's something very soothing and like very satisfying about, you know, coloring the image and the drawing. There's a specific one called the cozy coloring book.
Okay.
She's on Amazon. The creators are on Amazon. I found, and I think they're all over the bookstores too. But it's they're like chunky drawings. It's not like the little flower ones. They're like chunk. You take your marker and you just fill in the image. And I don't know. It's just so satisfying. I know it's kind of silly. It's like back to the 10-year-old Maria. Color.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just not thinking about anything and just winding down and prepping right before bedtime. And I think it's just really soothing. So I've picked that up. I've picked that up recently.
Yeah. I don't think it's silly at all. I think it's yeah, it's, things we lose as children that maybe we shouldn't have all along. And like it's yeah, it's I don't find it any different than like knitting or any like crafting. You know what I mean? It's a
Yes.
creative outlet like you said and
Yes.
it can be very I actually really love to color and listen to audiobooks because
Okay.
I find listening to audiobooks, I have to do in a very specific way because I get distracted very easily, but I do need to be doing something. I can't just, like, sit and listen.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
coloring, I feel like it helps me ingest whatever I'm listening to better if I'm coloring.
Yes. Yeah. I turn on a podcast, like I'll
Yeah.
open my laptop and I'll look up a podcast on YouTube and then I'll start coloring and before you know it, half hour, an hour goes by and you're ready for bed and you're relaxed
Right.
and you're rested and your mind is not thinking about all the things that you think about during the day. So
Mhm.
I think it's like you said, I think it's good to bring back those kid things, those your inner child and feed your inner child and give them some time too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's, a woman I discovered on Instagram, her name she goes by Coco Michelle.
Mhm.
And she forget what she I think she has a degree or, like, a background in, like, design or drawing and stuff. So she designs all of the coloring books that she sells, and she has, like, a little members club where, like, every month you get a few, like, free printouts, and she does classes. So and she does, like, super elaborate drawings with, like, shading and, like, all the I mean, like, the things she comes up with are so gorgeous. I wanna take some of her classes because I wanna learn how to color like that.
Nice. Do it, do it.
But yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, like you said, it was something I picked up in the pandemic as well.
Mhm.
I was like, "I need something to take my mind off of the fact that"
Yeah.
the world is maybe
Yeah.
ending. I don't know.
Everything happening all at once. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
we gotta disconnect and, give ourselves some grace
Mm,
and allow ourselves to disconnect and, know that everything will be fine and take deep breaths and just give some time for ourselves.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and
Self-care.
yeah, self-care, yeah, 100%. Yeah, and sleep is a part of that. We have to get sleep for sure. Um, and then speaking of, like, self-care and connection, what are the ways in which you, find that in your people, in your community, and, like, how important is community to you, and how important is it that your future partner is also tapped into community?
Well, I mean, I think it's important to stay connected this year, and just considering all the things that have been happening in the past year and recent, like this year, I made it a point to be more intentional about being involved in my community, even if it's just so much as volunteering, reaching out to different organizations and, helping out with clothing drives or food drives, even, doing volunteering for
Mhm.
interpretation. What am I trying to say? Translation.
J
I'm thinking in Spanish. Translation services or something small that I feel like I'm doing something for my community, and helping people that are struggling and helping people that are newly arrived and struggling and coming across these barriers that, they were probably around, sure, when my parents came and, started a life here, but not so violent, not so in your face, aggressions. So I think that would be important. I think it's important for me to spend time with somebody and be with somebody who, isn't well, if it's not affecting me directly, then, I don't care. I'll turn an eye to it. No, I mean it affects us, affects all of us as a community, even if it's, not directly, if it's in different ways. So I think it's important that you know, you even if your little grain of salt, adding your little grain of salt can help, and or your little grain of sand in any way you can. I think that's important. I think that's very admirable in somebody who is, aware of our social issues and may want to participate in whatever way they can.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that is happening a lot with people, even with myself and with my friends. I think, like you said, these things have always been important and nothing
Mhm.
happens in a vacuum, unfortunately, how we got here today is goes
Yes.
way back, but, yeah, I think people are understanding now that even with dating, it is truly political because
Yeah.
you want to be around people who share those same values, and it doesn't mean like, I have friends that I have had arguments with, and that I may disagree on the how we get to somewhere, but I
Mhm.
ultimately know that we want to get to the same place. We just may disagree on, like, what that looks like. Um so it's not necessarily like living in an echo chamber, but it is important that we be with people, like you said, who are not just going to like turn a blind eye, but want to have those conversations and excuse me, are comfortable being uncomfortable in those types of conversations and community.
Yeah, sure. And it's funny because my brother, I love my brother to pieces, but we have very, very vastly different views.
Mm,
And so we engage in like, debates and things like that. So, but the great thing about that is that he is engaged. He is debating about it,
mm,
both talking about things. And so even though we have different views, we're both talking about issues and problems and we also, my family and I always make it a point to vote.
mm.
I vote every year. I vote this. We're recording this in March, so election.
Next Tuesday.
I s
17th.
yeah, so, I make it a point to go out and vote and exercise my right, that, that was fought for so very hard, and, to exercise that as well, and so somebody who would also make that a priority or make a point to do that, I think is a plus. It's very admirable.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all have to live here together, guys. We're all living here together, so
We do.
we
Yeah.
have we have to make it as best as we can for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is a conversation I've had with definitely my friends in my own community, but even people that I've interviewed of, the fact that there's an interesting dichotomy going on right now specifically where and I think people are desperate for community, like being in real life, like not being online. But I think we've been so conditioned to be in a convenience culture
Mhm.
that people don't have forgotten the inconvenience of friendship and community. And what I mean by that is like, it's not always like convenient. Like sometimes you are going to have to pick up your friend at 2 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah.
because of an emergency or something. You know what I mean? Like you are going to have to go out of your way to or out of your set schedule to go drop something off to them or whatever in whatever ways that you need to show up.
Yes.
And also, I do think, specifically for the Gen Z generation, because of the pandemic, part of their childhood or like those formative years were taken away from them or looked very different. And so some people quite literally just don't know how to interact. And it's such an interesting time to see those two things trying to fit in with one another and how people are like learning in kind of a hard way that community and convenience don't go together most of the time.
Mhm. Exactly. And it's funny you say that about Gen Z because I have nieces, and
Mm,
my 2 older nieces are 17. They're gonna be 17 this year. I can't believe it. And then I have a 12-year-old niece and a 10-year-old niece, but, and it's just funny talking to them. I forgot what we were talking about. I went to an event, like a silent auction event, like a charity event, a few weeks ago or
mhm,
several weeks, and I went by myself, and my niece asked me, "Who did you go with?" And I said, "Nobody, I went by myself," and she said, "So you were just sitting there by yourself? You weren't with," and I said, "No, I was just sitting there, and I was walking around and talking to people," and she was like, "That's my worst nightmare." And, I started cracking up, and I was thinking like, okay, is it because she's a teen and,
mm,
well, she's a little girl and she's sheltered and things like that? Or is because of the Gen Z, of always being on the phone and always being online and
mhm,
not even, any moment of, at any time of the day, they're on the phone, or they can't just sit still and look out the window or look at the wall like we used to do when we were young, and it's like, so it's funny you mentioned that, and, I try to set an example for them of like, "No, you one day you're gonna be grown women, and you're gonna have to go out into this world, and you're gonna have to speak. You're gonna have to speak up. You're gonna
mm.
have to meet people. You're gonna have to be aware of where, your surroundings and not always be on the phone." So, I try to I do that and just let them know it's okay to go out on your own. Nothing's gonna happen. You have to go out there by yourself. You're not always gonna be with somebody. So, you have to exercise those skills. You have to develop those skills of talking to people and being engaged. And so I don't know. I try not to worry about it, and always be the auntie, always be auntie who's on call and who will be there for them. So as they navigate the world. So yeah, right now when you mentioned that, I thought about that right away.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be, I honestly got that a lot when I was younger too, because I am an only child. So and
Right.
I feel like not to generalize only children, but
Right.
I feel like they usually fall into 2 camps. One is very independent, very comfortable,
Mhm.
talking to other people, like you were saying, like
Yes.
socializing. And then the other camp is more of a codependent, kind of afraid of being alone, wishing for siblings and trying to find that kind of relationship in their friendships or what have you. And so people will be like, "You go to the movies by yourself? You go to dinner by yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like what?" Because if I was waiting on all of you to figure
Yeah.
out what you're going to do, I would never go out and do anything.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so, I'm trying to set in it well, I've always done that anyway, I've
Mm,
always been fairly independent, and if I wanna try a restaurant, I'll go. If I wanna go see a concert, I'll go, if nobody's available, I have me. So, yeah, I try to make it seem natural so they're not, like, freaked out, but, I don't know, it's this Gen Z that are like they're never alone. I don't think they're ever alone because they're constantly online,
mm,
constantly with their friends,
yeah.
even the little one, she'll get on her tablet and play games with her little school friends. And I'm like when I was 10 years old, I could never imagine doing that, So it's funny, but it's the times and we have to roll with the times and, you know, be how can I say it? Just have faith that they will develop the skills and, and we'll be able to guide them into the world as they grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll be okay.
They
They
will.
they've had it rough for sure,
Yes.
but I think there as much as I see things, and I'm sure this happens with any generation looking to the younger generation, you see those things where you're like, "Ooh, I don't this is it's concerning."
Yeah, exactly.
I think you also see the resiliency and the innovation of younger
Yes.
generations, and like you said, just being there to help guide them. And, we all, no matter how old or young somebody is, we all can be in community with each other and learn from one another. And I think that's such a beautiful thing of just being
It
a
is.
human.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. Yeah, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
They will be.
They got to learn their own lessons, but
Yeah, exactly. And I'm auntie, so I'll be there when they need me.
yeah. Yeah. Is it I'm gonna infer that with a partner, you would want somebody who also values that autonomy and independence as well as maybe family as well. If they don't have their own connection with family, at least being able to be a part of yours.
Sure, yeah, of course, family is important to me and also at the same time I'm also very independent. I do my own thing and I always come back to family, because it calls me. So, it's not super super important to me if, cuz everybody has different situations, everybody has different upbringings. But if somebody is not super close with their family, but they'd have to understand that I am to mine. So that's just the dynamics of how I grew up and my culture and I was blessed to grow up in a very loving home. My parents will be married 50 years in August.
Wow.
Yeah. So, those relationships were built to last and they're still going strong. And so, I like that. I value that. And, being like I said, I'm the auntie, so I'm always available for my nieces and sometimes we have girls days and I take them out, to Cheesecake Factory and to a movie and that's just me being in their lives, me being a part of their lives and giving them experiences and knowing that, uh, they can count on me. They can come to me with any, for anything pretty much. So, in a partner, I like for them to understand that, and if they're close to their family, wonderful, because that just be great, like more barbecues to go to, more birthday parties, more baptisms.
Yeah.
So that is important to me.
Yeah. You mentioned baptisms. Is religion a part of your or spirituality? Is that a part of your life that you want to share with somebody?
Born and raised Catholic.
Mm,
Family is Catholic, and I went to Sunday school and I did catechism and all that. I went to a Catholic schools all my life. So, but it's not super important to me. I am spiritual. I am, I know there's a higher power. I know that there are things happening in our lives that are meant to happen, and that's because of our soul, our soul journey here on earth.
mm.
So things like that. It's not
Yeah.
like, like, oh no, we're praying the rosary every Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do, I celebrate Christmas, and being from Mexican heritage, we're big followers of the Virgin Mary and la Virgen de Guadalupe and things like that. So, and that's part of my culture. That's part
Right.
of who I am.
Mm,
But, yeah, and, I would hope that somebody also is spiritually inclined and knows that, we're here for a higher purpose, and we're here on a journey on this earth, and, to live and help others as best as we can, and just be good people, just be a good person.
Kinda sad that, like, we have to, like, emphasize that of, like, as kind of like a I'm just looking for, like, someone who's a good person, like,
Yeah, just be a good person, yeah.
that's where our bar is, yeah. Oh, are there, in your dating journey and experience, are there things that maybe when you were younger, you had, like, preconceived notions of what a relationship was supposed to look like versus what it has looked like, or, you know, perspective changes? Are there any things that, like, you learned about being in a relationship with someone that have stuck with you that, like, you really prioritize?
I well, let me start off by saying, like, I was a late bloomer. I consider
Mm.
myself a late bloomer in dating. I didn't start dating until after college. I
Okay.
was I was what, maybe 24, 25 when I started really putting myself out there, and going out and things like that. And I don't know why. It's just, when I was in college, I was just school, and so I was just very focused on graduating. I just wanted to graduate and get that over with. So I consider myself kind of a late bloomer in the dating scene. I've been out there quite some time now, so I'm like, okay, I've been out here enough. To answer like your question about preconceived notions, I don't think I had any. I don't think I ever. I've never been one to put a timeline on my life either. Like
Mm,
married by 30, kids by 35, never. And like I've never had pressure from my family either. I know a lot of one, I'm not gonna say, just generally speaking, I know like it can be a big thing in Latino culture of like, where's the boyfriend? When are getting married? When are the kids? No, I've been pretty blessed, lucky that my parents are my family's progressive. They've never pressured me into anything. They let me do my thing. So I don't think I've had any preconceived notions now. I mean, as far as the experiences that I've had, I do now looking back, realize that perhaps, I would like a partner, a man to take the lead a little more,
mm,
because I'm a planner, not a huge planner, but
mm.
and I like to research places and, research places before going on dates and things like that. But I think it would be nice for it to be 50-50. Like you, you know, he can plan a date, I can plan a date, and just have more of a, have him take more of a lead and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I've learned that I've had to like, okay, I don't know. It's because, as I maybe in my experience, I'm always making decisions. I'm always making decisions. I'm always making plans. So it would be nice to be treated, It's like, "Don't worry about it. I got you. I got this." So
100%. I was just talking about this to someone last night of like where I'm the same way where I'm like it's just me, so I have to make the decisions about everything.
yeah.
So sometimes in certain situations I'm like I would love to relinquish control.
Ex Thank you. Yes.
Somebody else. That's how I've started telling my friends for my birthday because I love celebrating my birthday, but
When was your birthday?
it's October 1st.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
A fall baby.
Yes, yeah. And it's nice because it's the 1st of the month and I kind of steal the whole month.
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
Well, and Halloween's at the end, so and that's my favorite holiday, so it's kind of like I just make it a
Per
celebratory month.
Perfect. It's
Yeah.
your October is your month, Coco.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
thank you. I'm so glad you
It's
understand.
Coco-tober, everybody.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna need to make a shirt now. I've
There
never
you
heard
go.
that before.
Coco-tober.
But yeah, I've been telling my friends the past few years, I'm like, "The best birthday present you could give me is to plan my birthday for me," actually.
That would be amazing. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, I can give you some ideas as to what I wanna do, but if you invite everybody and you plan out the specifics,
Yeah.
you don't have to give me
Perfect.
anything else.
Yeah. I totally agree. It's funny because I have a cousin who is turning I think her birthday is later this month, and so she posted something about like, "Oh, I'm dropping hints here for, from family to perhaps plan a surprise party for me." And I replied to her, I'm like, "Girl, no. No, no, no. You're the oldest daughter. Nobody plans anything for you. Come on." And you're the only child, so nobody plans nothing for you.
Exactly.
If you're the oldest daughter, no, you have to plan other people's birthdays, and then
Mm,
you have to tell everybody what you're planning for your birthday. So, but I agree with that. I think that would be amazing. Like just a whole celebration of you for you and planned by other.
yeah, yep, that's what I want.
Yeah. What
Now,
happened?
there are
Who do
some
I have
years
to call, Coco? Who do I have to call to make that?
I'll give you a list. Renee is one of them, actually, since she's
Okay, Renee. All right. I got your email.
yeah, yeah, there are some years where I'm like, "I wanna do this specific thing," and so I'll figure out a way to make it happen. But yeah, because ultimately all I really want is to be surrounded by the people that I love and care about the most, and
Sure.
just be able to have a good time, and it doesn't really matter where that is. I mean, maybe not in the middle of Wrigleyville, that's not my favorite place. It's but yeah, the the semantics of when and where doesn't really matter to me. I just wanna be with my people is ultimately what I always want for my birthday. What were we even I don't even know what we were talking about. How did we get
Um,
onto this topic?
Planning, taking the lead.
Yes, 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 just planning that
Yeah.
you want somebody who will take a little bit more control of those
Yes,
types of things.
exactly. Yeah. That's where we were.
Yeah. What are some other ways in which if you had a partner, you'd be like, this person sees me, like, this person understands who I am, like, what are things they might do to kind of show that where you'd be like, "Yeah, this is my person because they see me."
I guess just being attentive,
Mm,
being attentive to my likes, dislikes, and I'm not a very demanding person. And I don't know if maybe that's good or a bad thing, and because yeah, I don't expect certain things out of the guys I date. Like, oh no, he has to take me here. He
mm,
has with it. No, but it would be nice, for them to show up with flowers. It's the old school things.
yeah,
I remember one time I was having a conversation with my mom and she was like, we were talking about dating and things like that, and she's like, it doesn't matter how the times change, men don't change as far as chivalry. Something along the lines of that. Like they want a woman to be the feminine and they're the masculine, and they want to treat their woman right. They want to cater to them and, have their place as the man and treat them, like, what am I trying to, like chivalry, like, things to do with chivalry, and they stick to that mindset. And when they're looking for a wife, that's what they look for. They want somebody that is going to be their feminine energy to their masculine energy,
Mhm.
But back to your question, I think being attentive, really wanting to get to know me, really wanting to get to know me. And they say that you really don't know a person. There's so many sides to us and as humans, and our moods and our likes and our dislikes, that that's just part of the journey if you're going to want to be with somebody, and like, for example, my parents have been married almost 50 years, and they've been on this journey, and they've gotten to know each other, and they're still getting to know each other. And so it's those things that I think would create a good partnership and a good relationship, is just getting to know somebody very, very well.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I mean,
Did that answer the question?
yeah. Yeah, and I think that is something all relationship like, if you're gonna be in the relationship with somebody, like, you should want to get to know them and,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, that's not always what happens, but yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that that idea of it doesn't all happen at once or, like, within that, like, short
In
period
3
of time.
months or
Yeah,
something.
right, it's a journey of learning all of the different facets of somebody
Mhm.
through a span of however long you're
And
together.
still wanting to be with them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
key.
exactly. Because everybody changes, everybody grows, and, like, sometimes you do grow apart, and, like, just because you're 2 different people and that's okay, like, it happens.
Yes.
And then there are other times where you're both growing, but, like, you're still able to be on the same page about a lot of things, and more importantly, you're able to support and, like, cheer that person on in their growth and whatever journey they go through.
Exactly. And through the good and the bad, and cheer each other on and support each other,
Mm,
and I think that's a good way of showing up for somebody, is just being supportive. You're going to be with somebody, you're going to be with them, you're going to be with their job, with their family, with their friendships, so wanting to stick it out with somebody is key, and showing up for them, I think, in that way I think that's important.
yeah, it is. Okay, we are gonna move on to the game segment of this,
Oh, okay.
interview. Maybe I'll say it a couple of times before I the editor can but the game is called Maria Reina del Universo.
Reina del universo. Yes. Mhm.
Reina del Universo.
Yes. Nice. You got it.
I do know a little Spanish, but
Nice.
I'm by no means I don't pretend to be fluent by any stretch of the imagination. So we're gonna play this game because you are a native Chicagoan, a creative professional, and a woman who already has her future meet cute fully storyboarded. We built this game.
I love it. I love it.
So we built a game just for you. There are no wrong answers. This is again just to get to know a little more about who you are. So are you ready to play?
Sure. Let's do
Okay,
it.
great. So the first round is called the playlist problem. You hand someone your phone and say shuffle. The first song that plays tells them everything about you. What comes on and what does it reveal?
My gosh. What era is this playlist from? That's first.
It can be it's whatever you want it to be. Whatever era is calling to you.
Oh my gosh. Well, if it was in my teenage years growing up, definitely a lot of Spanish rock.
Okay.
If you know, you know. To all my 90s teenagers, a lot of Spanish rock, a lot of Spanish pop. So way across the world, British pop like Depeche Mode, Pet Shop Boys, The Cure. So yeah, a lot of hip hop too. A lot of oh god, yeah, like a lot of or R&B. I mean, it's just like I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Of course, recently a lot of reggaeton, no? Bad Bunny, a lot of Bad Bunny, a lot of Don Omar, and yeah, I don't know. I think you tend to stick to the music that you favor. Not a whole lot of new artists. I think.
Mm.
Although I am very into. She won a Grammy. Lola Young. She sings that song "Messy," and I think she gives me like a an Amy Winehouse vibe. Like she reminds me a lot of Amy Winehouse and her vibe and her style of singing. So it's just all over the place. To be mariachi music, because that's my
Right. Of course.
parents' jam.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just yeah, that person would be like, "Who are you with this music?"
There's one type of music for every facet of Maria.
Yes, exactly. And every mood, depending on how I feel, depending on where I'm going, the playlist will change.
Okay, so the next round is called the Costco audit. Back to Costco. Wait, I actually think I asked you this earlier. What your future partner's car is in, or your future partner's car is in front of you at Costco. You can't see them yet, just the cart. Walk us through what's in it, what's a green flag, and maybe what is questionable about it.
Oh gosh. Yeah, definitely a lot of like a good balance of items in there.
Mm.
You've got your cookies, you've got your you've got your the the Danish that they sell there. Oh my god, it's amazing. But also, you have your cucumbers, your veggies,
Yeah.
your protein, a nice balance of everything. Your wine. You definitely have a bottle or two of wine and
They're
your
white. Do you have a
water.
preference?
I like white wine. White wines, yeah. It'll very rarely do I choose red wine, but I like the white wines,
Mm.
definitely more. Anything questionable in there? I don't know.
Anything that, like, if you saw, you'd be like, I don't know, we may have to have a conversation about this.
Maybe some fungal cream? I don't know. Maybe a 3-pack of the fungal ointment? I don't know. Then I'd be like, "Wow, what's"
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, sharing health history is important. Everybody needs to stay safe.
That is true. That is true. We'll have to have a conversation about that and clear
About the
that up.
fungal cream, yeah. Yeah, a 3-pack would be crazy.
Yeah, it's Costco, so you're gonna have to buy a 3 or 4-pack of
Right.
something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, hilarious. Okay, next round is the coloring test. So
Okay.
you're winding down for your evening, you got your coloring book. Your new partner wants to join in. What do they do that makes it perfect, and what would completely ruin the vibe?
What would they do? They would select their colors, at the drawing, at the illustration, and select their colors accordingly. If they leave the page half colored, that would kill the vibe. You have to finish it.
Wow, but you said you only do it for a half hour. What happens if the 30 minutes are up and they are not finished? Do they get more time?
They would get more time. They would
Okay.
get. I want to see the final product. I want to see it through.
You're at the coloring. Okay, good to know. Maria requires each night that the, the page is finished.
Yes, and if you can't finish it quickly enough, then maybe pick something simple. You know, Oh, I'll let her flip
Yeah,
through the book.
they need the cozy coloring book that doesn't have all the intricate.
There you go. There you
Okay.
go.
All right.
Something simple, something that'll take maybe 3 or 4 markers tops, and then just see it through. I want to see the final results.
I love how this is ultimately for you. It's like not for them, not for their enjoyment. You want to see.
Meanwhile, he's all stressed. He's like, God, I have to finish this.
Yeah, you have like the clock like sitting right there in his eyesight.
Nah, no, it's not that bad. I mean, we're gonna color. We gotta color. We have to finish the page before we go to bed.
I feel like he's gonna have to find an extra thing to do to fully decompress because after you go to bed,
Yeah,
he's gonna have to find his own decompression
yeah,
activity.
yeah. He's gonna have to bring the heart rate down, relax. Yeah.
Yeah. Although it did say he asked to join, so he can either follow your rules or find his own activity.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
He has been warned. He has been warned.
You've heard it. You've been warned. You can't say she didn't hide from you. Okay, next one is the handmaid debrief. You just finished binging The Handmaid's Tale
Mhm.
and you're thinking about watching the whole thing again. What does the person you're dating say when you tell them that? And what do you want them to say?
I want them to say, "Yeah, let's watch it again."
I'm assuming Handmaid's Tale is a show you enjoy.
Yeah, have you seen it? Have you seen any? Okay.
No, I attempted to watch the first episode and I said, this is too close to real life and I
Yes.
can't listen. If I want my brain to be disengaged, I can't
Yeah.
watch this.
Well, I was actually late to the game because, I think the first season came out in 2017 or
Yeah,
2016.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so and then before that, I was all about Mad Men. Before that, I was,
Mm.
like, obsessed with Mad Men, that series. So, yeah, so I was, like, late to the game with Handmaid's Tale, and my best friend had told me for a long time, "You have to watch it. It's crazy." And so I watched it last year over the summer because I think the last season came out last summer,
Mm.
and I binged it, and I was like, "My god." It's just
Exactly.
and like you said, it's not for everybody because it's just yeah, it's eerily realistic. It's
Mm.
eerily too close to reality. But, I loved it, and I love, the actress, I forget her name. She was also in Mad Men. She was in Mad Men too.
Okay.
So
The main woman, right?
the
She's
main
blonde.
one. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the
I
main one.
forget her name, but I know what she looks like.
Yeah, I'm seeing her face, but I'm so bad with names. And she's narrating the story. She's, the main protagonist.
Mm.
I just love her acting and like the whole vibe is just eerie and things like that. So I would want them to say, "Okay, sure, let's watch it again." Or I mean, it's fine if they say, I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm gonna sit it out. So you go ahead
They can go
and
color something, and by the time you finish watching an episode, they can show you what they've colored.
see they can get a running start, a head start on that. So come on, I want to see your color combos.
Oh my
So yeah,
goodness.
that would be my answer to that.
Okay, good to know. Again, you've been warned.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so the next round is the Zumba audition. You're teaching your first Zumba class and your future partner shows up to take it. How do they do? And does it change how you feel about them either way?
They would have a blast and they would love the playlist, that's for sure. They would definitely work up a sweat. And, if they can't keep up with the moves, that's okay. We all start somewhere. We all have to learn the choreography. We all have to learn, I wasn't a
Yeah.
pro my first class like 15 years ago. So
Well, you're basically a veteran at this point.
look, and I lived in Miami for a few years
Mm,
and Zumba down there is like an Olympic sport. Like
is
they're
it? I didn't realize that.
well, it's Miami, so it's like the vibe.
Well, yeah. Everybody's dancing and very
Everybody's
close. Yeah.
yeah. So the best classes I still keep in touch with the instructor down there. She's amazing. But the best classes down there. So that's the whole vibe,
Mm,
the vibe down there. So I wouldn't judge. I would just be happy that they had a good time and got a good workout in. And then we would, go get a smoothie after class. So
perfect. There's nothing like the reward of a smoothie, honestly. There's
right?
something like it's just so
Love smoothie.
cold and yummy. Yeah.
Yeah. refreshing,
Yeah,
and yep.
love that. Yeah, you learn something new. I did not I've been to Miami a couple times, but I did not know about the Zumba culture down there.
Yeah, well, I think I think they're based out of Orlando, if I'm not mistaken, the
Oh,
Zumba
okay.
head.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, it's right there, it's in Florida, so, yeah, the Miami Zumba classes are, I have to say, the best. They're the best on there.
Good to know. Next time in Miami, I'm gonna find a Zumba class.
Do it. So much fun, so much fun.
Okay, the next round is called the OBGYN appointment. You once had a dream of becoming an OBGYN, specifically to educate women, especially women of color, about their own bodies. If you could give your future partner one piece of education right now, something every person should know, partner, like one piece of education that everybody should know, what would it be?
That women are very, very, how can I explain it? I don't wanna say, how can I explain it? That our bodies are very, that they're a work of art. Our
Mm,
bodies are a work of art, but they're also highly functioning machines. And so, there are parts of our bodies that have not even been studied, or, of our hormonal changes and everything that we go through every 28 days, our sexual pleasure, so that what they see on the outside doesn't represent all of who we are as women.
mm,
Our strength, our physical strength, our ability to endure pain,
mhm,
discomfort. I don't know. This is a joke that I heard, or a comedian on Instagram a few months ago. I don't know what he was talking about, but he was just saying, like, it's just, women are amazing, because on any given Tuesday, they could just be, standing in line at the bank or at the grocery store, and they're bleeding. They're just bleeding. The way he said it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I can't even fathom that. I can't imagine being somewhere standing, just minding my business, and just be bleeding blood, you know? And he's like, that's incredible. And so, aside from the joke he was making, it is incredible. And that's why I say, if I wasn't so squeamish, and maybe if I was a little better at science, I would have loved to be an OBGYN, to teach women, and women, especially Latinas and women of color, about our bodies, and how we function, and how complex we are, and how, you know, s- medical science has done us a disservice by, not really knowing, not really
mm,
teaching us how we function, and our biology and our anatomy and things like that. I would tell him, just, you know, give us grace during that time of the month, as I'm sure, most men know, because
you'd be
we're,
surprised.
yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I hear you. But, that we're shedding parts of our bodies, while we're making dinner. So it's incredible. What Women are incredible, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Gosh, you're making me sweat here. Awesome, man.
Yeah, I was intrigued by that question as well. I was like, I have no idea what she's going to come up with for her answer, but I'm here for any of it.
Nice. Well, I'm glad it was to you guys' satisfaction.
Yeah, it was truly a great answer. Yeah, because the human body is just in general is just so vast in its ability to function the way it does. And we take a lot of that for granted,
Yep,
especially men. Men take a lot of things for granted.
for sure. Yep.
Okay, next round is the movie recast. You have 4 films on your all-time list: Splash, Bram Stoker's Dracula, American Beauty, and The Wedding Singer. You're recasting the lead romantic role in one of them with your ideal partner. Which film would you choose out of those 4? Which role? And what does that casting tell us about what you're looking for?
Oh gosh. Well, those are definitely different genres. Splash, I don't even know if people remember Splash. It was in from the early 80s with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks.
I've never heard of it, but now I'm intrigued.
See, a lot of people haven't heard of it, and I remember watching it as a kid. I was a little girl, and I just thought Daryl Hannah was, like, the most beautiful woman. Like, she looked like a Barbie to me,
Mm,
blonde, wide, and she was just stunning, and, she's a mermaid. I won't give the story. Watch
mm,
it when you it's a cute
yeah,
story. It's like a fantasy,
yeah.
obviously she's a mermaid, so it's a fantasy love story. And then Bram Stoker, I'm not really into, like, horror movies at all.
Mm.
A big a big wuss when it comes to that. I don't like scary movies, but I think that movie is more gothic than scary
Yeah, yeah.
'cause, the vampire love story. The Wedding Singer is just hilarious, and I love the soundtrack to that movie. That's why I'm a big fan of The Wedding Singer. And, American Beauty, I saw that when I was in college. Yeah, I was in college when that came. And so I just love the story of it, how it developed, and then, the ending was like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that at all."
Mm,
So those are 4 movies that really have stuck out with me, and I could watch those over and over again. But if I were to recast, it would probably be Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's
okay.
like just, you know, the the love story is just, it's so romantic because, he loses the love of his life, and he's a vampire, so he lives for hundreds of years, and then he finds her again in another lifetime, and I like the romantic side to that. So I would be Winona Ryder, I would be Mina, and my partner would be Dracula, who was what's his name? I forget his name. See, I'm so bad with names. Who was especially hot in that movie as Dracula.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. It's interesting. I wasn't expecting you to pick Dracula because it is out of all of them, well, American Beauty is pretty intense, but,
Yeah.
Dracula is definitely a little dark, but
And
yeah,
it's a period piece. It's a
yeah,
Victorian period
yeah.
piece, and when I was younger, when I was in college, I used to love looking at Victorian photography and going down to Hyde Park and looking at all the Victorian mansions and things like that.
Mm, mhm.
That stuck with me. That's like something inside me that is, you know, that I like.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you want that romance, the bit of drama of it all. Not drama
Yeah.
and, like, messiness, but
The adventure of it,
yeah,
and then, like, the perfect line from that is, I've crossed oceans of time to find you.
yeah,
It's just, oh, yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
romantic.
Yeah, that's
Never
a grand gesture if I've ever heard one.
never mind that he's like a big slimy monster, but that's
Right,
romantic.
right, yeah. He's a bit scary, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so our final round is called the confidence keynote. You
Okay.
said confidence and self-esteem never go out of style, and that
Mhm.
feeling comfortable in your own skin, knowing you're one of a kind is everything. Where did
Mhm.
that come from for you? Was it always there, or did you have to build it?
I think it's definitely something that I built over time. As I mentioned earlier, in the podcast, I was a late bloomer dating, and part of it was because I was really shy.
Mm,
Not that I had low self esteem or anything like that. I was just shy. I was too shy to put myself out there, and be among people and things like that. But that's something that I've definitely and a lot of women go through this as we get older we start to realize, damn, you know what? I got it going on. This is me. This is who I am. My personality, my looks, my body. And I'm okay with that. And I'm always working on bettering myself, bettering my health. And now I work out not to lose weight, but to be strong and for vitality and for longevity. And so I think that's something that is amazing and fantastic the older that we get. And I applaud the younger women who already have this because they are ahead of the game, and they know who they are, they know what they want, and they know that there's nobody else in this world like them. So that's what you bring to the table. That's your light. That's what you bring to the world. So it's definitely something, and I'm still working on that, as I enter my 50s. So that, that is something that is ongoing. And I'm excited to see where this takes me, on my journey and into the rest of my life. And what I bring, want to share with somebody else and somebody who will appreciate that as well.
I love that. That was beautifully said.
Thanks. It's the truth. It's the truth.
It is. It is. Yeah, it is like it is with a journey with a partner. It's also the partnership with yourself or the relationship with yourself is always, like you said, ever changing, ever growing, ever evolving, which is, yeah, a beautiful thing. And it never stops until, the end.
And I think that that is really developed when you're on your own as well, because I've gone through dry eras in my dating life, very long dry periods, either by choice or by life circumstances. And I think it's, being by yourself, with yourself, taking yourself out on dates, going to places, going for a coffee by yourself. I think that builds, that confidence in you. Like, yes, I'm special. I'm unique, and it's something that you become comfortable with, and you become more and more comfortable in your own skin, and you're not worried about, my God, what, somebody's judging me, or I'm here by myself and they're talking, no, 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 nobody's looking at you.
Right.
Everybody's doing their own thing. So you do your own thing. And I think spending time by yourself, even if you're in a relationship, having the time for yourself is important too, to develop that confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so we have a final reflection as well that I wanted to ask you. What do you want to say to them directly?
I would say shoot your shot. If anything that I've said resonates with you, with this person, to, reach out. And you never know. It's yeah, this is a dating platform and it's for singles, but friendships are also very important. And I think, even if you find a friendship or start out as friends, I think that's a beautiful thing, because, it can always lead to something more. Back to our conversation of wanting community and wanting to engage and just have connection with other people. I think we're at that point right now that, we all want to form more connections and get out there and meet people and, hug and shake hands and, have a cup of coffee. So I would say to reach out, and you never know what'll happen.
Amazing. I love that. The perfect note to end on.
Good.
That was great. So now I'm just gonna do our, like, closing, little spiel, and then we'll be finished.
Okay.
It was absolutely a pleasure to meet you and talk with you, Maria. I had such a great time learning about you.
This was a blast. This was so cool.
I love it. Yeah, I love that you had such a good time.
Mhm.
So, if you are interested in this phenomenal woman, Maria, please let us know. Okay. Maria, it was so lovely to meet with you and talk with you. It was a great conversation that we had today.
Thank you so much. Likewise, this was a blast. I had such a good time. And yeah, I'm super excited to share the podcast with my friends, and refer my other single friends to Eligible In.
Yes, please do. We would love to meet and chat with them. And if you would like to meet and chat with Maria, then please send us an email at hello@eligiblein.com, and also reach out if you would like to be our next guest or if you would like to nominate somebody to be our next guest. Thanks for listening to Eligible In, a production of Eligible In Media. Our theme song is by Monster Rally. If you see someone you like on our show, or if you would like to nominate yourself or someone you love to be interviewed by us, please visit us at EligibleIn.com for more information, including a link to subscribe to our newsletter, where you can stay up to date on our newest episodes, as well as exclusive features of our eligible people.